Anyone who's tried going cross-country through the southeast underbrush and comes across an open clearing like this might think they're in a park. Actually, this site is the location of one of the most important historical events to take place in Southeast Alaska history. And because of that event, this is a park today. Hello, I'm Scott Foster. Welcome to Rain Country. Nearly 200 years ago, local residents cleared this site, and today it's a National Historical Park located in Sitka.
This park commemorates the battle of resistance to the coming of the white man, and that was, in this case, the Russian-American Company.
The Russian-American Company, under Alexander Baranov, moved into southeast Alaska to expand their fur trade. They built a fort near Sitka in the early 1800s, but Quixotic Tlinkits in the area attacked and forced the Russians out. Baranov returned in 1804 with a force of more than 1,000 men. When negotiations with the Tlinkits failed, the Russians bombarded and then attacked the Tlingit fort.
As if by signal, Katlian leaped to the attack. His appearance amid the invaders, wildly shrieking the cry of the raven and swinging his hammer with painful accuracy, forced the Russians to retreat to their vessels. Several days of inconclusive bombardments and parleys followed.
One evening, the Tlinkits, who apparently ran out of ammunition, simply withdrew from the fort. The white man, in the form of the Russian fur traders, had their foothold in southeast Alaska. Today, the location of the battlefield and the Tlingit fort is part of the Sitka National Historical Park.
The historians with whom I've worked have told me that had the outcome been different, instead of Alaska being part of the Russian territory and eventually being, quote, sold to the United States, it might well have been claimed by the Hudson's Bay Company for Canada, and so this part of, at least this part of Southeast, at least, might have well been part of Canada instead of Alaska.
Whether British, American, or Russian, the presence and influence of nationals from these and other countries forever changed the lives of the original residents.
With the devastation of diseases taking place, disruption in trade, the new form of government, the Native people had to concentrate on surviving in a new culture, a new language, a new belief, a new trade. And so the old custom was laid aside and even forbidden in cases.
That meant the production and understanding of Native cultural arts significantly declined for nearly 3/4 of a century. To help revive some of the arts, the Southeast Alaska Indian Cultural Center, under the sponsorship of the Alaska Native Brotherhood, was included as part of the new Park Visitor Center in 1965.
A&B locally came up to talk with the management here about operating this program where it would be Southeast people. It would be a continuation of the cultural arts. It would be storytelling. It would be those things that would bring continuity to the old story of the park.
I think that culture is on the verge of going out of existence. So what we do know, we would like to have people know about us, how we lived, what we did, how we survived, and what our art form is. Now this, what they call today the art of the Northwest Coast, it was a utilitarian in the past. It was whatever they made, used, their hooks, their spoons, their clan crests were carved on it. So the culture which is being revived somewhat, but a lot of it is gone.
Louis Menard and other artists at the Cultural Center keep the earlier art traditions alive with their hands. They also serve as teachers and talk about their art and culture with park visitors.
Gosh, I don't know how many are new back there. I'm working on a ceremonial robe. It's a style that was done about 200 years ago. It's traditional Tlingit weaving. It's done very much like basketry. The poster is one that was done by Tikhonov, an artist who documented a lot of the visits early on, and that was a depiction of Katlian. And the robe that he's wearing was of this same style, Northern Geometric or Raven's Tail. It gives you kind of an idea. We're not following the exact pattern. Ours tells a newer story, but it's of the same style.
Without the cultural center, this would be simply a place of the past. Exhibits of artifacts from a time before, pictures of times before, but with the cultural center, we as visitors can appreciate the fact that the culture has gone on and has evolved and changed, and so it brings to life the Tlingit culture in particular.
In addition to the Cultural Center, visitors may view a slide program that explains the background and events of the Battle of Sitka. And there are other displays in the Park Service Visitor Center.
In the exhibit room itself, we have, again, many artifacts that are on loan to us. Some of the Chilkat blankets, for example, the rattles and things. We also have some things that are part of our permanent collection here at the park that help to add some dimension to the Tlingit culture. And of course, this is all set against a backdrop of enlarged photographs, many of them mural prints of people right here in Sitka.
Outside the visitor center is a popular local trail curving along the shore, through the woods, and beneath a series of totem poles that seem to grow with the trees.
Governor Brady collected these about the turn of the century from villages in southeast, not from Sitka, probably from places like Prince of Wales Island. He was gathering them together for the St. Louis World's Fair. Over the years, of course, the original poles have deteriorated and have been reproduced in the 1930s and other efforts in the 1970s and 80s. So the poles today that stand along the trail are reproductions of the ones that Brady collected.
Those using the trail today walk historic ground. Near the trail's turnaround point, Kiksadi Tlingits and Russians fought the Battle of Sitka in 1804.
If you were to walk out there today, you would see the setting, if you will. The cruise ships often anchor right about where I suspect the Russians were anchored, off the mouth of the Indian River. The landscape is a little different. The vegetation is grown up. Today you can see a clearing that more or less outlines the size of the fort. It was a very impressive stockade, I think, from what we've heard in the accounts, and certainly may have housed perhaps as many as 750 people.
This part of the Tlingit country is more of a memorial to the people who we call the Kiksadis. They were the ones that had their confrontation with the Russians. They were the ones that fought them twice. They used to make a ritual of it to visit at least the park, a memorial, like a Memorial Day, to visit the battle site, to remember those that had fallen in battle when the Russians brought the Aleuts. And to these people, it's sort of a sacred ground.
A visit to the national park gives you a little nourishment in your history of who you are as an American and the treasures of America. That's the treasure, I think. It's the heritage. I think we're keepers of heritage in the national park.